Welcome to the Starfish Diaries. I am your host, Liz McKean, and you might have found me from another podcast or from yoga or through coaching or maybe a recovery event, but all that matters is that you're here now, and I am so glad that you're here. On this show, we're going to be talking about identity and self-trust and recovering from all sorts of things, including shame and burnout and squeezing ourselves into what we think good looks like. And I'm going to use a lot of metaphors because that's how I make sense of the world. And I'm hoping that helps you too. I'm really just here to remind you and honestly remind us that there is no such thing as doing life wrong and that you do get to make your life into a place that you want to be. And we're going to figure it out together. So let's go. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Delighted, as always, to have you here and excited for this conversation today. I want to kind of continue on our theme of just what it's like to ask for help and how that relates to inner trust. A little bit in the context of some of my own experiences, mostly relatively current, but all influenced by, a lifetime of stories and beliefs that come from both within and all around us. So I think it's one of those things that can feel so, I don't know, for me, it could feel so like broken within me or something until I understand it better. And then I talk about it and all of a sudden I find out, oh my God, we're all like this. Who knew? Who knew? Now we all will. So before we get into any of that, we're just going to take one big deep breath together in just a moment because that feels good for me and I hope it feels good for you. So wherever you are, maybe if you're in a place that you can close your eyes, you do that. And if you're driving, please don't do that. And then exhale all of your breath without any sense of urgency and take a big breath in through your nose. Big exhale out, make some noise. Good job. We'll just do one for the top of the show here today. So let your breath just be normal, be the cadence that feels comfortable for you. And I will do the same amidst all the talking, all the gibbering and all the jabbering. So one of the real challenges that I have found in my quest to understand the delicate balance, the dance that I do between self-trust and trusting others enough to ask for help, the ability to ask for help without giving away that self-trust, without giving away the agency, all the little pieces that just within only the last few years do I think I've really been able to give words to. And again, every time I talk about this with anyone in my orbit, it's always something that is far beyond just myself. I think in particular, a lot of women have similar experiences when it comes to asking for help or resistance to asking for help. The resistance often being a feeling that you're not supposed to, that there's this, halo around being a martyr and doing it all and taking care of everybody but ourselves. There is a real fear of giving away one's, power, autonomy, respect. If you, say I can't do this alone, whether that's childcare or mental health support or even just taking a freaking break because you're sick, It's in every area of our lives. I think there's a really sad, just, common thing that happens where we all feel like we need to hide it when we're vulnerable. We need to hide it when we're struggling. And I think there's something to be said for going within first when there's a challenge and being like, what is my responsibility here? What is my capability here? How can I get myself through this? There's certainly the other end of this spectrum is helplessness or learned helplessness and a a total lack of agency or self-trust that manifests in not being able to do a damn thing on your own. And that's not what we're talking about here today. We're talking about things that would actually be beneficial, the kind of support that I feel like most of us need, whether that is, again, in the realm of coaching or therapy or just simple rest. Or maybe get support with fitness, with health, with, a whole litany of things. I think women, and of course that's going to be the area I focus on just because that's my own lived experience and the majority of people that I talk to about this, we do kind of constantly walk the line of what is going to keep me safe, what is going to get my needs met, what is going to, make me feel like I am the person that I so deeply want to be or know that I am or hope that I am or maybe fear that I am not. And that's kind of the topic for today. And I'm going to name this episode something in the realm of gold stars or stop chasing gold stars or something like that, because I fear many of us will relate to that feeling of constantly forever chasing gold stars. I certainly have been chasing gold stars my entire life, whether that was in school or at work or at home with my parents or, in the realm of dating or friendship or sports or anything. It's always like the answer, or the question rather, was less, what do I need to do to, get what I need? What do I need to do to be successful as I define it? No. Instead, the question was, what do I need to do to earn a gold star? And I want to just preface this by saying that is not, actually seldom, I think, is that something solely ego-based or, I'm trying to think of another word, but this is 2 episodes in a row now that I think words have been hard to find, so we're finding a little bit of a theme here. Maybe I need some help with dictionary type devices. Anyways, I feel, and I can say this from my experience with myself and others, that chasing gold stars, getting recognized for doing a good job is just as often, if not more often, about safety. And I don't always mean physical safety, but that's definitely in the mix, as it is about, just that rush you get when you get recognized, that rush you get when you win, when somebody says that you're the best or you did a really good job or they're really proud of you or something. And that's for me, I remember since I was very young, knowing, and this is whether or not it was the message I was given, it was the message that I received both at home and in school and in the world, that if I'm the best, if I do a good job, if I make people look at me and say, wow, way to go, I will have value. And if I have value, I will be okay. People will be nice to me. People will smile at me. People will have admiration, and that makes me feel safe. I feel unsafe if I'm looked at as if I have messed up, I didn't do a good job, I, God forbid, made a mistake or did something against the rules. Again, whether or not I did it on purpose or knowing or anything, that for me felt like just doom, like absolute emergency, state of emergency in the country of Elizabeth. Very visceral fear would come up at the thought of not succeeding. So chasing those gold stars, having other people tell me I was good and doing a good job, figuring out what it took to get there, felt for me in my brain like required work for survival. And then, even as I grew into my adult brain in jobs and in relationships, that I never questioned that because it was so celebrated. By then, that's all I knew, is that when someone else tells me I'm good, that's when I know I'm good. And a lot of things happened around, like throughout that time that felt pretty clear evidence that I was not good. So not only was I chasing those gold stars, but I was pretty sure I was fooling everybody. I was doing a great job in school, but at home I was having to, again, I think I might have mentioned this in a previous episode, stay up all night and, have this sense of just absolute terror because I procrastinated so much, because I'm diagnosed ADHD, in order to get something done on time. And then I would crush it. And then I would get all the gold stars and I did a good job. But in my mind, I was like, yeah, I don't actually deserve any of that. I actually am kind of a jackass because, I did it in the wrong way. I don't actually have everything all figured out. I'm not actually super organized. I don't really know all these things all the time. I just had to really cram last night. And therefore, I'm a big faker. But as long as I keep fooling everybody by doing a good job, they're going to think that I actually am doing a good job. If that sounded really confusing, it's because it didn't make any sense. But in my little kid head, it made sense. And then I never questioned it. It became such a part of my identity, to the point that, as has been many a time mentioned in this podcast, I got to the point where there was just a breaking point, and I found alcohol, and it made me feel better for the first time. And then I had to work even harder to get those gold stars because I'm hungover and craving alcohol. And I got to make sure people don't know that about me, except for the people who thought it was cool. Those people I could know. And that also, was another area of gold star gathering, where there's like these segments of people. These people will give me gold stars if I behave in this way. These people will give me gold stars if I behave in this way. And like, never the two can meet because holy worlds colliding, Batman. So gaining those gold stars was far less a game of, feeling just the glow and the pride of being celebrated, admired, and much more of a desperate bid to be okay in my brain that was certain that the only way to be okay was to be the best and good, and that required, in my mind, a really huge show. I had to fake it in order to make it. That continued on in jobs, and I was very successful in every job. That continued on in friendships and relationships and even in, family dynamics that, looking back makes me really sad, because now, being the person I am and having done the healing I've done and having just grown through all of that, I'm like, man, I deprived myself and the people that I loved of myself because I was so sure I had to earn the gold star in order to like have a place. And in reality, they just loved me. They still love me. I certainly found that out when I crashed and burned, and even after that, I felt for a long time I needed to chase even more gold stars. I had to quadruple gold stars when I stepped into recovery, because I had to be on the, lifelong apology tour for the time when I had to cash in on my gold stars for turning out to be so bad and so, not who I said I was. And at the end of the day, when all that is done, I'm still here, and people love me, and I'm okay. And at this point in my life, there's people who don't really like me very much, and that's okay too. Like, for once in my life, it's okay that I'm not for everybody. And to even be able to say that on a microphone is pretty scary. To be able to say anything on a microphone is pretty scary. Like, let's be real. But where that fits into the ask for help is in the efficacy of said help. I've, as we talked about before, have asked for help in a lot of ways over my life, but it's very challenging for someone to be able to help you if you're hiding who you are and what it is that you actually need. And without even necessarily knowing I was doing it for a long time, I definitely did that. If I would go to see a therapist, for example, to get support with anxiety, which was almost always the thing that I would go to therapy for, I would certainly tell them that I needed help with this thing, but my my primary objective in those appointments was not for them to help me, was not to get better. My primary objective was to win therapy by making sure they like me a lot, the most, making sure they thought I was good. And again, I didn't think I was good. So that made it really hard to be the full me. That made it really hard for anybody to help me because I was trying so hard and usually succeeding at getting people to like me that I couldn't allow them to see me. And when you can't see somebody, it's very hard to help somebody. So, what I would like to propose for all of us is to no longer chase the gold stars. To at least notice maybe when we're chasing the gold stars. Actually, let's take a few steps back. The most recent therapist that I worked with, I said to him when I first started working with him, I will try to make you like me. I actually worry about trying to make you like me. And I think there's actually been a few people in my helping circle in the past few years that I've been able to say that to. And to be able to say that in a first meeting is just, for me, the new way to keep myself safe. It's acknowledging that part of me that wants so badly to be liked that, will throw all else away. It's acknowledging that this is a tool and a strategy that I have that I will use if I'm scared. And you, as the person I'm coming to help me, I am going to trust you with that information because that's going to make it harder for me to use that strategy. And that's ultimately going to help me. And I want to just zoom in on that because that idea of not only going to someone and saying, hey, well, first of all, before you even go to the person, before I'd even go to these people, there was a lot of, research and knowing that this person is somebody that, on paper anyways, I have some faith in. And then going into that first conversation, not as you are the answer to all my prayers and I'm going to be all better because of you, but saying, let's get to know each other and maybe this will work. And being able to say transparently and certainly vulnerably, but also with some power behind it, also with some self-trust behind it, this is what I need. I need you to know this strategy that I have. And it's interesting to hear what responses are from that. Because the answer I don't want is that, doesn't matter if I like you. That actually would break my little child heart that's still in here. It's more just thanks for telling me that. That's really helpful to know. And that's also really common, by the way. A lot of people do that. And, I know how to manage that. And that's really reassuring. And then I don't have to carry that anymore. It's something I don't want to have to carry and worry about the whole time that I'm being supported by someone. With a coach that I work with who is wonderful in every possible way, I know there have been times that, we've talked about some challenge that I'm running into in my business. She's a business coach that is so much more, but that's the, her way in, or her main, arena. And there's been times that, we've had a conversation or an issue and I want so badly to say what I think I'm supposed to say, which is, that's great. You're right. Okay. I'll do it. All done. All better. Thanks. And move on. But I don't do that anymore. Now I am able to say actually, no, that doesn't really work. Shoot, that's not quite it. And sometimes that means interrupting. And sometimes that means talking a lot more than I think I'm supposed to. I feel like I'm supposed to listen, But the cool thing about this person, this coach, and this is across the board of people that have been the most helpful to me, I'm clear about what I'm there for. I'm clear about, I believe them when they say that their priority is to help. And with that information and without questioning that information, I'm able to move forward in a way that does not have to be a constant battle and, balancing of different personas of myself. It can be just, this is who I am, this is what I need, and I trust you to, show up in the way that we've agreed. And you continue to do that. So I have no reason to doubt it. I don't need to go home and replay this conversation and worry that, oh God, I said the wrong thing and you think I'm stupid or a jerk or something like that. I am going to be honest with you right now that I still do that in plenty of scenarios with, family, friends, coach, anybody, because that's part of anxiety. But I'm also able to recognize that that is what that is. So noticing that gold stars are a thing for me, are a thing that I chase, and that chasing gets in the way of getting the kind of help that I need, has been a critical part of getting the help that I need. And the wild thing about that is that when I'm able to show up right in the very beginning, honestly, vulnerably, authentically, how many words can I say that mean the same thing? You're with me. It almost inevitably results in true mutual like and respect, right? There's an actual relationship there. There's actual, like when I feel like that person, says something nice to me or about the relationship, it feels great. It is so much better than any gold star because, my God, if you have ever received a gold star, I'm just going to keep using this language, that felt like total garbage, that actually hurt, this is probably what happened. I'm going to just go out on a limb here because this is what's happened for me. I've been given a gold star. I've been told how great I am, and the description of me and how great I am is a part that I performed. It's when I showed up in a way that I knew the person wanted me to, needed me to, and it felt terrible and it wasn't actually true to myself. And it was, or maybe it even was a way that I probably would have showed up anyways, but I was doing it so intentionally to make sure that they thought of me in a certain way. It was such a production, and it was so exhausting, and it wasn't something that I could keep up. Like, those are relationships that don't even last because it's too much work. And then to get a gold star from that performance, it's like, this doesn't even belong to me. This is for the representative that I showed up as, when we had that relationship. And I'm so glad that you liked them. And also I'm so sad that that's who I convinced you I was, because that's who maybe I want to be. And maybe it even is who I am, but we'll never know. You'll never know, because I didn't trust either of us enough to show up as my real non-gold star chasing self. I look back at a lot of relationships, both helping relationships and just relationships over the years and years and years. And I just wish I could go back in time and take both of my little hands and be like, I know you're in there. And I know you think you have to play this part. And the ironic thing is, the real you is actually very similar to this part. It's just that you don't trust that it's true, that there's really good in there. And I'm telling you that there is. And if you trust it, and if you trust you, and if you trust them enough to be it, all of you, then it's going to be okay. And okay doesn't even mean that it's going to be, a gold star at the end of the day. Okay might mean this isn't the right place for you. This isn't the right relationship for you. This isn't the right job for you. This isn't the right role. This isn't the right time for whatever this is. And then you walk away and you save everybody a world of time and pain and energy. And I can't go back and take my little hands and say that, but I can put my hands together right now and feel them warm, pressing up against each other like a prayer. And I can take that warmth and I can put one hand on my heart and the other hand on top of that, and I can feel my warm hands. I can feel my heart beating. And I can feel my breath rising and falling. And I can remind myself again and again that, like, I got you. And that fullness of trust that I've got in me is the reason that I can look around in the relationships that I have right now, and the work that I'm doing, and the business that I'm building, and the people that I surround myself with are just there. I don't have to force it. I don't have to fake it. And I have helpers in the form of, my therapist is actually retired, and I'm so happy for him and also feel sad for me. My business coach is there, and my, thought partner friends are there, and my, just other people in my life are there. And I just trust them, and I trust me. And I also trust them enough to even let them know this. I trust you enough, dear listener, to know this, that I'm going to try at some point when I feel scared. I'm going to try really hard to make you like me. And the sad thing about that is that I don't have to do that. I do want you to like me, but I want you like me, not whatever version of me the scared part of me puts forward. And yeah, and the great thing about having people in my life that know that is that they can see it. They can see through it. I can see through it. I can call it out even if they don't, and it just makes everything feel more real, which is certainly higher risk, but it's much better rewards than those gold stars. And it has led to support and help that doesn't require me to be whatever the frick it is that scared part of me thinks I'm supposed to be. It just requires me to be. And I'm not saying that that's easy. So, if you are a gold star chaser like me, maybe for today, maybe for every day, we say fuck the gold stars. Keep your gold stars. 'Cause I got me. And we got each other. And if you're not quite there yet, and it feels like the life that is surrounding you is one that requires a really big performance, then reach out, because we should talk. Because I would love to see you, and not the performance of you, but the you that is in there and that is good, not because you've achieved good or performed good or, done the tasks that make up being good, but because you just are. Period. No discussion. And you deserve to know that, and to feel that, and to feel like your life is a place that you want to be. And by you, I mean like you. So, I'm so glad that you are here. I would love to take a couple breaths with you. If you're in a place that it feels comfortable, and if it's something that you're into, then maybe you press one hand up against your heart and the other on top of that hand. So both hands are just pressing right into that beautiful heart of yours. And maybe you close your eyes. And again, if you're driving, please don't. You can do it in your mind's eye. And then whenever you're ready, take a big breath in through your nose and a big exhale out of your mouth. Linger at the bottom, and then take a big breath in again. And let it all go. Good. I think you are just perfect and just wonderful in all your imperfections, and even all the not so wonderful things that you're thinking right now about you. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I want to talk more to you. And if you haven't already, reach out on Instagram because I would like to hear from you. And for now, we shall say farewell, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Starfish Diaries. I want to take a quick moment to thank some of the people who have made this possible. The artwork that I am so in love with is by my friend and the most talented artist, Mo Houston, and you can find her and her work and work with her by going to Joy Scout Studios. I will have that linked in the show notes. And thank you to my incredible editor, Sean Gritters. If you are looking for production support with your podcast, highly recommend that you check him out. His information will also be in the description.